Your denyo wada dine dine and go denyo wada dine dine. This is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Show, number where we speak truth to power. And here we don't criticize. But if we must criticize, it must be on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we say we are in the service of God and country. This is the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is the voice of Jehovah God. Alright, so my name Black Rasta, and today we have a number of issues I need us to go through. Now, the very first story we are looking at today is taken from Ghana, wherever. My brother, my sister, and it's a very interesting story I need you to come along with. Oh my God, have mercy. Now listen with rapt attention, my brother. It says, don't hang onto industries you can't maintain and run. And this is coming from Otumfuo to the government of Ghana. I read, Asantehene Otumfuo Osetutu II has urged the government to diversify companies it cannot maintain and run efficiently. Now, according to him, there are several government companies and entities that are struggling that can do well with private partnerships. He disclosed this during the commissioning of a 430-kilometer natural gas pipeline by Gensa Energy from Okyehyene to Opare in the Ashanti region. Opare. It's about time that the government realizes that it's not going to work for the government to be involved in getting our companies without involving the private sector. It doesn't work. Now listen to that paragraph again. It's about time that the government realizes that it's not going to work for the government to be involved in setting up companies without involving the private sector. It doesn't work. Now the government should confront policies and involve the private sector, and you can attract more investors into the country, which will create more employment. VR and others are all government establishments. Let's give it out and diversify them into the private sector and get more money there and get the right people to do it. Gridcore and others, let's give them the money and get the qualified people and let them work. Electricity company is in a situation where we don't know, but that also must be diversified and given to the private sector. Otumfuo said. Now, my brother, my sister, anytime Otumfuo speaks, I read between the lines several times before I utter a word. You know how much respect I have for traditional authority, being a traditional person myself. My brother, my sister, Otumfuo has spoken. What has Otumfuo said? Otumfuo is saying something interesting. Otumfuo says that, hey, all these people come together as one people under one nation. That is what Otumfuo is saying. Otumfuo says that, listen, government can diversify a lot of companies around and endeavors by involving the private sector so that things can be better. My brother, looking at it from afar, it makes so much sense. Now, when you get closer to the issue, it still makes sense. And when you sit back and think about it deeply, what point is Otumfuo trying to send home? It means things are not working in the country, right? If everything was working good, or if a majority of things work so good in this country, my brother, my sister, Otumfuo would only be sitting in his palanquin and charging the people to continue singing king, 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 obo, king, 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 king. No. That's it. He will sit in his palace and mind traditional authorities and traditional business. But when you see the toad or the frog hopping out in broad daylight, it means there's trouble, our ancestors say. Now let us get deeper into this. In Ghana, when we talk about private participation, it's party boys and goro boys and job for the boys. That is no private business. That is no private sector participation. It's Goro boys and party boys participation. A lot of private businesses have collapsed under this government. And it's not funny. A lot of banks have folded up. A lot of great businesses have folded up. A lot of great businessmen have become paupers. A lot of them are getting ready to write their wills and get themselves into early graves. Hallelujah. It hurts me. There were some people who used to call me and send me some big envelopes. Today, those people are calling me and asking me if I could help them buy breakfast or lunch. It hurts. My brother, and these were genuine business people. But because they had no party affiliations with this government in power, they decided to send them to hell, guilty as charged. It is hurting. That is what Otumfuo is talking about. He is saying that please engage private participation. After all, we are all Ghanaians and the money will remain in Ghana. Private participation does not mean go to China and bring Chinese. For what Ghanaians can do, do not go all the way to India and bring Indians where Ghanaians can fit. Do not go to Afghanistan and bring Afghans where Ghanaians can fit. After all, Azufia Oye, with all love and respect to J.E.A. Mills, who presently is smiling at us from the other world. My brother, my sister, Otumfuo has spoken tongue in cheek. But as intellectuals, let us also look at some of the examples he gave. He talked about electricity. He also talked about grid co. My brother, there are some things in the country that should never be given to private people. In other words, we should never ever encourage private sector participation in that. Because when it comes to the private sector, the key thing is capitalism. In other words, it's all about profit. True? Electricity should never go into the hands of the private sector. Water should never go into the hands of the private sector. Never. Water should be controlled by the government. And the government should owe the people the proper patriotism and allegiance to be able to know that water is a necessity and not a business tool. Again, electricity has moved from luxury. In the days when I was moving from Dolubuzan to Tumu, remember I said Tumu, there's no R in Tumu, it's Tumu. My brother, my sister, all the way from the upper west region of Ghana. In the days when 6-2s walked all the way from Ulu, through Jirapa and all those places where there was no electricity, we used lanterns. We were satisfied. We were okay until greater modernity set in and electricity taught us how to use iPhones like Amaka's fourth iPhone 14. Or is it 15? My brother, my sister, today electricity is no longer a luxury product. It is a necessity. When it goes off, people die. When electricity goes off, people get malaria. Electricity has become mosquito right now. People get malaria when electricity goes off. So Otumfuo has made this point and it's clear. But we still have to look at some of the examples. Please, let electricity continue to be a government-controlled product. Again, private sector might make it more efficient, but no, these are not things we should do business with. Water should be one such thing. And schools, at least we can have private schools, but a majority of them should be government schools. Am I making sense? King. From one traditional ruler to another traditional ruler. And this one here, we're going to have a different approach. This is from the Okyehyene. Now this one published by Graphic Online says, deal with vile speech on social media. Okyehyene to national security. With all respect, this one is coming from Okyehyene. And I read, the Okyehyene Osajifo Amwotia Oforipenyi has suggested that the national security apparatus should immediately act on vile speeches and slander of some social media users. He said, although such persons had resorted to insults on social media, they had been left to go unpunished, which seemed to embolden them. Now, the Okyehyene made the suggestion when the team members of the See Something, Say Something, led by Akosua Dankwa and team under the national security apparatus, paid a courtesy call on him at the Oforipenyi Fie at Chebi last Tuesday, April 16. The purpose of the visit was to seek the support of the traditional leader to get the citizens on alert for any unforeseen negative acts that would adversely affect the people. Hey! Hey! Now, with all respect, my brethren, the Akan people have a saying that I love. They say, and I quote, Kukuru kukuru nu jaya, kike kike no subejai. In other words, when the tick and tick and tick and tick continue, then certainly the talk and talk and talk will join. So we have tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The tick is not complete without the talk. Kukuru kukuru no jaya, kike kike no subejai. My brother, it is not a crime to insult anybody in Ghana by our laws. If I meet you and I say, look at him, you can't take me to court. And the lawyers are here to attest to that. My brother, my sister, we all remember in this country when it was told us that it was not a crime to insult the president, let alone a civilian who has no portfolio. Hallelujah. Now let us get into what the traditional ruler is talking about. Of course, I agree that there are so many insults on social media. And the secret of my survival is that 99.9999% of the time, I don't waste my time to read comments. No. Because when I read comments sometimes, I see frustrated people who vent their spleen on successful people who got there through a dint of pure hard work. Some people are so frustrated. In fact, they are tripolar. They have gone beyond bipolar. They are tripolar. And some of them are quadruple polar. They just vent their spleen on people who they are envious of, nothing more. I used to read comments and laugh. But as a grown-up who will be 50 on the 2nd of September 2024, I have decided to encourage myself to live longer by not reading frustrated Ghanaian comments on social media. The good thing is that social media has come to help illiterates become a little literate, because you can't use social media if you are illiterate. So they come there and at least they can write, "You are welcome. Thank you. GM for good morning. No more general manager." My brother, this is helping them to become a little literate. But let us go into Okyehyene's thing. Okyehyene has not been a very good ruler. You know why? With all respect to traditional authority. The other day we were told, and they never came out to deny it, that Okyehyene was neck deep in this galamsey issue. What is galamsey? Illegal mining. And they even threatened that if the government, Okyehyene threatened, and we heard him on tape. Yes, the evidence is all over. Okyehyene said that if the president and the government in power does not come to build a university in his area, and encourage business in his area, he may have to push. They may have to push in the youth to do the illegal galamsey. You all saw the publications, right? And when we speak with facts. My brother, under no circumstances should a wrong be a solution to a wrong. Never. We all heard about a royal cemetery that the Okyehyene decided to use and sell out as a filling station, petrol filling station. And it's clear. Published several times. Royal cemetery. Maybe one day, if Okyehyene dies, that's if he dies at all. There are some people who never die. My brother, he might be buried in that cemetery. But no, graves of ancestors looted. Some of the bodies were even fresh and carried away. And the Environmental Protection Agency was asked to come and preserve those bodies for reburial. You all remember that, right? My brother, a traditional ruler, and you treat your ancestors like this, for me, it's not a good thing. These are the things that bring insults to us. If the youth realize that they cannot get back at you because you are too powerful, they might just end up on social media throwing insults again. A wrong is never a solution to another wrong. What is national security going to do? Go around arresting people who insult people on social media? Then they should spend their time catching the mosquitoes that give us malaria. It will help us. Do you know the number of malaria carrying mosquitoes in Chebi? Have you been able to catch them? The armed robbers who snatch people's phones left, right, and center. National security would be do a better job catching these people rather than going around to catch people on social media insulting people. Please, don't let us start attacking mosquitoes with AK-47. A mere is enough to kill a mosquito. National security should go on social media and be catching people who are insulting people. Hey! This will be another Guinness Book of Records. Ghana sends people after, national security after people who insult on social media. The energy you would use that can give us, to do that, can give us 1 million more attributable gas plant centers in Ghana. And doom so will be a thing of the past. I'll leave it here. Now the last thing I am looking at today, and I'm done. Oh my God, it's another interesting thing. It's the last thing, and I'm going to spend just 5 minutes on this. Today I have a different producer sitting there whispering into my ears and all that. He says, we don't have any confidence in the courts. And this is Judge Opare on the 2024 elections. Ah, listen again. Oh. We don't have any confidence in the courts. Judge Opare on 2024 elections. Who is Judge Opare? I don't know him, but we'll get to know him. The National Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Judge Opare, has declared that the party lacks trust in the judicial system as it prepares for the 2024 elections. He emphasized that the NDC's focus would be on securing votes at the polling centers and stations rather than relying on the courts. Opare's comments come in response to a warning from Interior Minister Henry Kwate regarding violent and inciting comments ahead of the elections. Speaking in an interview on NEAT FM on April 17, 2024, he criticized the minister, stating that he should advise his own party members as they are the ones making inappropriate remarks. If he's giving any form of advice, he should advise his own party members because they are saying things that are not appropriate. They are saying they won't hand over power. The NDC can't win power. My brother, I think what George Opare said carries a lot of weight, and it makes a lot of sense, sad as it may be. I also don't have any trust and confidence in our court system. We are individuals. We cannot be forced to have trust and confidence in structures that have been compromised. The president, who is very partisan, if you are so partisan, so actively partisan, and you are the one choosing the Chief Justice, you are the one putting into place people who are supposed to be neutral, I have a problem with you. May I say it again? I am saying that a president who is so partisan is the one who is choosing the people who are supposed to be neutral. Does it make sense? Amaka, does it make sense to you? Lois, does it make sense to you? A president who is supposed to be very, 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 very partisan to the umpteenth time, and seen as such, seen as a clearing agent, seen as somebody who is supervising over corruption, is the one who is picking people who are supposed to be neutral. Chief Justice, President. King Justice, President. Queen Justice, President. In recent times, even lawyers have said that they are losing confidence in the judicial system. True or false? My brother, and these are the people who are supposed to judge between two political parties, and one political party is responsible for putting these judges in place. It doesn't make sense, brethren. My brother, my sister, in every house there's a Mensa. In every institution there are bad nuts. We have seen thief lawyers. We have seen lawyers who have gone to jail. My brother, we have seen policemen who are armed robbers. We have seen pastors who are rapists. We've seen all these. What Opare is saying is nothing but the truth. But I would like to quote something Azuma Nelson said. And we can use that, my brother, my sister, to judge. Let me paraphrase it instead. Azuma Nelson said when he was going to fight Jeff Finneck, my brother, he said, I know that this second fight is going to be done in his backyard. I will not leave the judgment to the referees. I will beat him like a father will beat a son. It's like a father and son. I am the professor. That is why the people call me professor. I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad. Oh, baby, I'm bad. My brother, when the cockroach is taken to the court of fowls, it must prove beyond all doubt that it can defeat even the fowls right at their backyard. That is what I'm saying. In this election, please go beyond the courts. Win at the polling stations. Campaign properly, genuinely, loyally, and patriotically. Hallelujah. My name is Black Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much. Today we've had an associate producer in the name of Lois Kisiedu, who came to sit in here and whispered a lot of things in my ears. Thank you for joining us. My name is Black Rasta. It's been the Black Pot.